Matheus Fernandes is set to be part of the group of players who will arrive first at the club's Enfield training complex from this Friday. And Gabby Agbonlahor believes Sandro Tonali is only joining Tottenham for the big bucks. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and to another edition of the Daily Tottenham News Headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. My name's Lee, the Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Football London have stated that Matheus Fernandes is set to be part of the group of players who will arrive first at the club's Enfield training complex this Friday for medical and physical testing and gym work. They will then begin full sessions on the training pitches with the coaching staff from Monday. Tonali will also be involved from Friday, but only if his work permit is finalised following his move to the club this week. Others involved in the early days of pre-season will be Madison Solanke, along with new signing Martin Dubravka, Conor Gallagher, Archie Gray, Richarlison, Matisse Tell, Destiny Udogie, Ben Davies, Souza, Kinski, Vicario and Brandon Austin. Mohamed Kudus and Dejan Kulusevski will be involved when they are fit to return from their long-term injuries that dash their World Cup hopes, while Wilson Odobert and Xavi Simons will not be back until the turn of the year from their ACL injuries. Tottenham had 12 players away at the World Cup in Christian Romero, Kevin Danso, Luka Vuskovic, Jed Spence, Pape Matar, Pedro Porro, Lucas Bergvall, Mickey van der Ven and Rodrigo Bentancur, as well as summer signings Andy Robertson, Marcus Senesi and Jan Paul van Hecke, and under 21 such as Mikey Moore, Will Lancashire and Jamie Donnelly. Only Romero, Senesi, Spence and Porro remain, with Robertson and Bentancur likely to be the first back to pre-season this month from their international group after their exits with Scotland and Uruguay respectively in the group stages. All players will get offered at least 3 weeks of rest after their involvement in the tournament ends. The first summer friendly at the moment involves Tottenham hosting League One side MK Dons at Hotspur away on Wednesday, July the 22nd, before the club heads off to its tour of New Zealand and Australia. Gabby Agbonlahor believes that Sandro Tonali is just joining Tottenham for the big bucks. Spurs smashed their transfer record to seal a £100 million deal to sign the Italy midfielder from Newcastle on Monday. Tonali expressed his excitement to play at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in his first interview as a Spurs player, to which host Jeff Spedding quipped he could have done that as a Newcastle player. Tonali said, "I can't wait to play in this stadium because I played against Tottenham with AC Milan in the Champions League and Newcastle. I found the atmosphere great. I found every time the full stadium." But former Aston Villa striker Agbonlahor wasn't having any of it. "Atmosphere? Do me a favour," he reacted. "Don't make me laugh. I went to the game last season, Spurs against Aston Villa, the quietest stadium I've probably ever been to. Zero atmosphere. You, Tonali, gone there for the big bucks. You've gone for the money that Newcastle probably wouldn't give you. To leave Newcastle to go to Spurs is a crazy decision. Let's call it as it is. Senesi, same," he continued. "You've gone there for the free transfer and the money. Andy Robertson, you've gone there for the money. So has Tonali for the money. Do me a favour, the stadium." Disagreeing with Stelling that Tonali had been swayed by an aggressive forward-thinking manager in Roberto De Zerbi, Agbonlahor added, "One thing I will say, Italian manager in De Zerbi, I will give him that. Players joining Spurs for the money. But really, Jeff, he's gone for the big bucks. Spurs have got money to spend, and as a Spurs fan, would I want players coming for the money? That seems to be happening." So, my thoughts on this. Well, of course, there's only one really to talk about, and that's the crybaby Agbon Lahore with his rant and moan about money and all the rest of it, basically because he's just a whiny little you-know-what. It's actually crazy, really, isn't it, that little old Spurs have really got under the skin of some of these pundits. And I don't know, they're doing it just for the clicks and for the likes and all the rest of it. He's trying to sell himself and all that. But let's face it, he was a journeyman footballer, and he achieved nothing. He's not even a great footballer. He's a terrible pundit. But he's entitled to his opinion, right? But you tell me one footballer that doesn't play for the money. These guys are earning mega bucks, right? And if someone's going to pay them better money, better contracts and all the rest of it, of course they're going to go for it. These comments about the stadium is just ridiculous. I've been to the stadium every game last season, and every game I went to there were periods of the game, yes, it becomes quiet. It does do that. But you tell me a stadium that doesn't these days. And don't come back to me and say that Aston Villa is constantly buzzing, because it bloody isn't. But in terms of there not being an atmosphere, that's just nonsense, isn't it? I mean, it's absolute nonsense. Tottenham fans are, like most fans, let's be fair, all fans support their club as best they can. All fans get involved with it as best they can. And it is a very, very partisan, tribal thing, football. So you're going to get these kind of comments, these negative comments and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, this build has to start somewhere. So if De Zerbi can make Tonali and Senesi and all these players believe that there is an opportunity in the future to really do something, if you put together the right level of squad, then who knows what could happen, So it has to start somewhere. Arsenal spent all those years building a squad to finally win the Premier League and get to a Champions League final. It didn't happen overnight. So when they started building that squad, when they were, mid-table and everything, no one was saying, "Oh, that's crazy. He's only going there for the money." Same as Liverpool. Liverpool have not been finished below Spurs on a load of occasions. But when they started spending their money and building their squad, nobody went, "Oh, that's crazy. They're only going there for the money." And it's been the same, all the way through it. No one's talking about Chelsea. No one's talking about Manchester City. So, Gabby, get over it. Move on, mate, because you're just making a fool of yourself. Anyway, listen, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm not going to ramble on. So thanks for watching and for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching it on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm leader Dorset Spur, looking after the grandson. And I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.